Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Limpim Vishum. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 16th of February. India and Sri Lanka sign civil nuclear pact, seek new chapter in bilateral relations. United Nations asks Pakistan to safeguard its minorities. And Delhi picks Yuvraj Singh for record amount at IPL auction. And now for all the details. The Shia community of Pakistan continues to protest against the rising attacks in the country. Tensions prevailed over the weekend after 20 people were killed in blast in a Shia mosque on Friday.
The Shia community marked its protest against the gruesome attacks which have seen a surge in past 1 month. Hundreds of Shias held a long march from northwest Peshawar to southern Karachi condemning the latest incident of violence. Taliban militants attacked a Shia mosque in Peshawar with guns and grenades, killing at least 20 and injuring over 60 others on Friday. A security video of the strike showed assailants dressed in police uniforms carrying out 3 explosions before firing indiscriminately at worshippers. The Taliban, through a video message, later claimed responsibility for the attack and said it was in revenge for the recent hanging of Muhammad Aqil, a militant leader of banned terrorist organization Lashkar-e-Jhangvi.
زه د پاکستان عسکري او سیاسي قیادت ته دا ویل غواړم چې تاسو د آرمي پبلک اسکول د واقعې ناپس کومه د ظلم والا لړۍ او سلسله شروع کړې ده او په هغې کې تاسو د پانسۍ والا چې کوم اعلان کړی دی نو د هغې په د هغې د انتقام پر سلسله کې ځکه چې ډاکټر عثمان په هغې کې پانسي شو نو دا صرف د ډاکټر عثمان د انتقام په باره کې دا ځوانان زه درلیږم او زه چودري نثار ته او راحیل شریف ته او نواب شریف ته او رضوان اختر ته چیلنج ورکوم چې زه دا ځوانان درلیږم او تاسې مخنیوي وکړئ او انشاءالله دا د ډاکټر عثمان د انتقام ړومبۍ لړۍ ده او نور انشاءالله تاسو د وخت انتظار.
Residents of Peshawar staged sit-ins and marked Saturday as day of mourning as they buried the victims of the terror attack. They accused the government's inability to ensure safety and security of the minority communities in Pakistan. United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon also condemned the repeated attacks under the pretext of religious beliefs. He demanded Pakistani authorities to swiftly bring the perpetrators to justice and combat terrorism. Friday's incident came 2 weeks after a deadly suicide bomb attack on a Shia mosque in southern Sindh killed at least 60 people. Shia community and their religious centers have regularly come under sectarian attacks in Sunni-majority Pakistan by militant outfits like the Pakistan Taliban and Sipai-e-Sahiba.
India and Sri Lanka on Monday signed the Civil Nuclear Cooperation Agreement. This comes during the first official foreign visit of Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena.
India and Sri Lanka on Monday agreed upon exploring the vast potential of bilateral ties between the two South Asian neighbours. Visiting Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi inked a number of deals to increase trade and economic cooperation. Prime Minister Modi, who had congratulated President Sirisena on his election victory, said New Delhi wanted a balanced bilateral trade with Colombo, which has so far been heavily tilted towards India. The two countries also agreed on further strengthening cooperation in sectors like conventional and renewable energy, apart from civil nuclear.
The bilateral agreement on civil nuclear cooperation is yet another demonstration of our mutual trust. This is the first such agreement Sri Lanka has signed. It opens new avenues for cooperation, including in areas like agriculture and healthcare.
President Sirisena, who arrived in New Delhi a day before, received a ceremonial welcome on Monday. He held one-on-one discussions with Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj earlier in the day. Indian President Pranab Mukherjee also hosted a dinner for the visiting delegation. The visit is expected to strengthen bilateral ties between the two neighbours, which had largely been off course under the previous Lankan regime that favoured Beijing over New Delhi. Marking a paradigm shift in its policy towards India, President Sri Lanka, who assumed office last month, had said he wanted better ties with India. He had also sent Foreign Minister Mangala Samaravira to India days after his government was sworn in. President Sri Lanka has also ordered a review into the Chinese infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka signed under the previous government. Prime Minister Modi is also scheduled to visit the island nation in March.
The Dhaka High Court has directed Sheikh Hasina government to crack down on the Bangladesh Nationalist Party's political violence. This comes as the indefinite blockade entered its 43rd day on Monday.
The High Court, hearing a number of petitions filed against the BNP-led shutdown, asked the government to take strict action against the political violence. The court has also directed the Sheikh Hasina government to ensure that the ongoing school examinations are conducted in a safe atmosphere. This came while more violence was reported from various parts of Bangladesh on Monday as blockade supporters targeted a train in Narayanganj and torched 5 vehicles. Police said the attacks were targeted at students who were appearing for their exams. More than 70 people have been killed and hundreds have been injured in the political turmoil so far, which began in January. The BNP, which boycotted the general elections last year, called for a nationwide indefinite blockade to pressurize the Hasina government to declare fresh elections under a caretaker administration.
A 3-day anti-polio drive was launched in northwest Pakistan on Monday. The Khyber Pakhtunkhwa administration has installed 675 teams and aims to vaccinate nearly 255,000 children in the coming days. Facing threats from extremist groups, some 1,300 police personnel have also been deployed to provide security to polio vaccinators. A similar drive, which was scheduled to begin in neighbouring Balochistan on Monday, was however put on hold, citing security reasons ahead of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's visit to the insurgency-hit province. With 306 cases of polio in 2014 alone, Pakistan was responsible for nearly 80% of victims reported globally. The World Health Organization had imposed strict travel restrictions on the Islamic nation last year to prevent the spread of the crippling virus to other countries. Bangladesh's civil society has called for consensus among various political parties against Jamaat-e-Islami, the country's largest religious party. The Jamaat is accused of fighting alongside pro-Pakistani forces during Bangladesh's independence war.
The Ganojagaran Manch, or People's Resurgence Platform of Bangladesh, took to the streets of capital Dhaka demanding the execution of war crimes convict Muhammad Kamaruzaman. The 62-year-old Assistant Secretary General of Jamaat was sentenced to death by the International War Crimes Tribunal in November last year for genocide and other crimes against humanity committed in 1971. The Bangladeshi civil society, which held a demonstration at the Shahabag Square, said all the political parties should stand united against the Jamaat.
আগে জামায়াতে ইসলামের ব্যাপারে সরকার সহ রাজনৈতিক দলগুলোকে সিদ্ধান্ত গ্রহণ করতে হবে তারপর এই যে সংকট রয়েছে বা যদি কোনো গণতান্ত্রিক সংকট থেকে থাকে সেই সংকট সমাধানের উদ্যোগ গ্রহণ করতে হবে
The Jamaat, which is a key ally of the 18-party opposition alliance led by the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, has been barred from contesting elections since 2013 as its charter violated the secular nature of the country's constitution. The party is also accused by Bangladeshi freedom fighters for siding with the Pakistani army during the 1971 Liberation War. A special court formed in 2010 by the Awami League government has so far found more than a dozen leaders of the Jamaat guilty for war crimes. Civil society and war veterans have for long been demanding trial of the Jamaat and a total ban on it.
The Cricket World Cup might be running full house down under, but that did not take spotlight away from the high bids put on stake at the players' auction for the Indian Premier League or IPL. Take a look.
The day belonged to Indian all-rounder Yuvraj Singh one more time. Though the 33-year-old was dropped from the ongoing World Cup squad, he sparkled at the IPL auction for a second consecutive year, bagging a lucrative deal worth $2.6 million. After a close bidding among Royal Challengers Bangalore, Rajasthan Royals and Kings 11 Punjab to buy the left-handed cricketer, the auction was sealed by Delhi Daredevils. Singh was the highest sell last year as well, being picked by Royal Challengers for $2.33 million. While Dinesh Karthik remained the second best gainer, being bought by Bangalore franchisee for $1.7 million, Delhi Daredevils got hands on Angelo Matthews for $1.2 million and spinner Amit Mishra for $564,000. However, players like Hashim Amla, Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardene were some of those who went unsold. As many as 344 players were auctioned for the 8th season of the IPL tournament, which begins in April with Kolkata Knight Riders defending the trophy this year. The IPL is the richest cricket league in the world, but the recent betting and spot fixing controversies have hit the hugely popular brand. The value of the 8 franchisees, mostly owned by top actors and business tycoons, is now estimated to be below $3 billion, much lower than the high of $4.13 billion in 2010.
The party, which began on Sunday, continued all day through. India erupted in jubilant celebrations after their team beat traditional rivals Pakistan at the first match of the Cricket World Cup.
It was the display of India's six packs, quite literally. The team in blue defeated Pakistan for a 6th consecutive time, continuing its winning streak with much pride on Sunday. Fans said though it was the maiden match of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015, it was no less than the finale.
आज जिस तरीके से पाकिस्तान को हम लोगों ने हराने का काम किया, हम लोग वर्ल्ड कप जीत गए हैं और ये देखिए वर्ल्ड कप का एक नमूना है जो साबित करता है कि धोनी के नेतृत्व में 2015 में पुनः वर्ल्ड कप हिंदुस्तान में आएगा.
India opened its World Cup defence convincingly with Virat Kohli scoring an imperious century, steering India to an imposing 300 and leading it to a 76-run victory over Pakistan. The first match of the tournament for both the sides was played amid frenzied atmosphere and a crowd of over 41,000 at Australia's Adelaide Oval. Over a billion cricket buffs also tuned in across the subcontinent. Ecstatic fans in India broke into vibrant celebrations, screaming their lungs out as soon as skipper MS Dhoni's team scored a 6-0 tally against Pakistani side led by Misbah-ul Haq. Many followed the high-octane action at special screenings organised at various places. They said India kept its legacy of never losing to Pakistan in a World Cup match intact.
I'm very happy being an Indian. I'm proud of being an Indian. And India has made a legacy that it's going to win each and every match against Pakistan.
Neighbouring Pakistan on the other side descended into a gloom after their team lost. Enthusiasts who had gathered to watch the game on giant screens in public squares looked dejected as Pakistan began to lose wickets at regular intervals.
वेरी डिसअपॉइंटिंग क्योंकि इनकी बैटिंग भी सही नहीं थी और पहली और सेकंड फील्डिंग भी बहुत बुरी थी. इनको पहले अपनी फील्डिंग भी इम्प्रूव करनी चाहिए और बैटिंग भी इम्प्रूव करनी चाहिए.
बॉलिंग में जब आपके पास आपके इतने ज़बरदस्त बॉलर सईद अजमल नहीं थे, जुनैद खान नहीं थे, तो जहाँ पे वी कुड हैव स्टॉप्ड इंडिया अराउंड 220, तो ऑब्वियसली वो 300 तक गए और उसी 70-80 रन्स जो एडिशनल रन्स हैं, दे हैव मेड ऑल द डिफरेंस.
The ICC Cricket World Cup is being co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand. Defending champion India is set to face South Africa on February 22nd. The other countries in its pool are West Indies, Zimbabwe, Ireland and UAE. The other group comprises of Australia, England, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Scotland.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. India and Sri Lanka sign civil nuclear pact, seek new chapter in bilateral relations. United Nations asks Pakistan to safeguard its minorities. And Delhi picks Yuvraj Singh for record amount at IPL auction. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.